Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. In today's video, we have some massive news regarding Rodrygo to Chelsea and Enzo Fernandez to Real Madrid. Not only that, we now know which members of the squad are completely untouchable and who is for sale. A club has come in for Petrovic, and Chelsea are also monitoring Morgan Rodgers. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Ben Jacobs has reported that Chelsea are considering a move for Morgan Rodgers and could be boosted in their pursuit if they qualify for the Champions League. Now, this isn't the first time that Morgan Rodgers has come up in terms of Chelsea being interested, whether it's just a rumour going around the rumour mill or Chelsea are seriously interested. He wasn't on the shortlist that I leaked weeks ago, or David Ornstein put out there saying this is who Chelsea are after, ideally in sort of like first, second and third of each position. He wasn't on that list. However, we know that Chelsea are always linked with so many people. And Morgan Rodgers is a fantastic footballer. He can play, on the left or central positions, which is essentially what we need. Maybe not so much centrally, because we have Felix. We don't know whether we're going to keep or sell. We obviously got Palmer, we got Esteval, who could play on the right-hand side or centrally. But that left-hand side, I keep saying this, is such a void right now. We don't know whether we're keeping Sancho or sending him back, and Mudryk cannot play for the foreseeable future. So we do need to fix that side of the pitch. Now, obviously, we are linked with Rodrygo, which we're going to speak about later in the video, so make sure you keep watching. Morgan Rodgers is Premier League proven. Morgan Rodgers, I think, has an incredibly high ceiling, great potential, and he's already showcasing the abilities that he has. My main concern is with Aston Villa. And Aston Villa, we do have a good relationship with them. I had the whole Maatsen deal and the Amari Kellerman coming the other way. It's all the whole PSR thing, to the point where the FA and PSR were like, yeah, stop doing that. We know what you're doing, and that's cheating, basically. Like, not technically, but it kind of is. Stop playing off PSR books to, make things sweet. Actually play the game properly, basically. So I don't know what the price would be. I don't know what Aston Villa would want in return. I'm assuming it would be quite a high fee for someone like Morgan Rodgers. As again, he's got a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and he's been a very good player for Villa this season. Obviously, they have other players as well. You've got Asensio, and you've got Watkins. You've got all these other players that are fantastic for them. Obviously, Martinez. Apparently, Chelsea are linked with him. Villa have recently put out a report saying that the price tag they're putting on Martinez is £40 million. So if that's anything to go by, I can imagine Morgan Rodgers being a £50 million plus signing. Realistically, do Chelsea need him? I would take him in a heartbeat. I would not say no. I think Morgan Rodgers is a fantastic player. And how cool would it be to have two players in the same squad doing the cold celebration? From Morgan Rodgers, who started doing it, and Palmer, who kind of coined it as his trademark celebration. How cool would that be? That'd be amazing to see, but I don't know whether Chelsea are going to be serious about this or whether it is just a rumour going around the rumour mill, but I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Would you sign Morgan Rodgers? Would you go in for him? Would you have serious intent? Or would you spend the money elsewhere? Fabrizio Romano has reported that Chelsea and Arsenal love Nico Williams and have made contacts to understand how much the whole package will be. In recent years, it has been very expensive, £50 million clause plus taxes and salaries and commissions. This is another rumour mill for me. Nico Williams has been linked with the Premier League for a number of years, as Fabrizio has reported. Clubs have been inquiring. What's it going to take? What's it going to cost us to prime away from where you are right now? And look, it's going to be very, very expensive. Long contract, big salaries, agent fees, commissions, etc. The normal stuff. I do not see Chelsea going out and buying Nico Williams purely because of his agent's suggested wage demands of £400,000 a week, which is absolutely ludicrous when you think about it. In today's football, it's just silly money, right? Even though footballers are paid a grotesque amount of money, we know this, right? You've got people like Sterling on 325 a week, and we loaned him out this year. Jadon Sancho's on huge wages. We've paid Lukaku huge wages. It doesn't seem to be an issue, right? But with PSR becoming more and more prevalent, and clubs really having to monitor what they spend and their wage bill, and Chelsea trying to reduce their wage bill massively, which they have with these long contracts and incentivized wage structure. Obviously, we're giving people pay rises because they're performing well. It's performance-based. If we sell a load of players, we make room, and Nkunku, Sterling, Disasi, maybe Badiashile, there's a load of players that we could offset and offload, which would free up a big wage bracket and also generate some funds to then go buy players. So if Chelsea are going to take that tactic, which I think they will be, it could potentially happen. But I feel like if you're going to be spending 50 million plus on the transfer fee and then 400 grand a week on the wages, it doesn't really give us a lot of wiggle room for anyone else that we need in serious positions like a number 9. I would rather Chelsea take that big pot of money they generate with all the free wage structure or wage bill that they have after offloading players, and putting that money into someone like Victor Osimhen or Gyökeres or just a number 9 who's going to score goals. That is what I would much rather. I would rather prioritise that position because we clearly need a goal scorer, and then pay lesser wages for other pieces on the pitch, in my opinion. I'd love to know your thoughts down below in terms of how you would distribute the extra funds that we can raise, plus the money we already have in terms of spending power in the transfer market. It's not surprising that Chelsea and Arsenal love Nico Williams. He's a fantastic footballer. He's great on the eye. Hasn't had the best of seasons this season. I mean, he's had ebbs and flows like most players have, but he is a very high class talent. He is a very talented winger. There's no debate about that. He's still young. He's still developing. And I think if he was to come to the Premier League, it would be unbelievable for him and for fans watching. It would just be a player that kind of excites you when he gets the ball. Hopefully his end product can develop and get better as well. But I personally wouldn't be spending the wages that he's demanding. But would I say no to Nico Williams if the deal was right? Of course, I would love to sign Nico Williams if the deal was right. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Nizar Kansila has reported that Caicedo and Palmer are considered untouchable. The rest of the players could all be sold at the right price. This is very surprising and slightly alarming. Todd Boehly did like a video interview yesterday in I think it was in Qatar, like a business conference where he spoke about all these businesses, and obviously Chelsea is a big part of that. And they were talking about Andre Santos and how much Chelsea are excited to see what he can do for them and how much of an amazing season he's had. Petrovic has improved, etc. And they basically summarised, and obviously Nizar Kancila's put in his report, that Caicedo and Palmer are absolutely untouchable. And I think that's absolutely granted. Fair enough. They're our best players by a country mile, right? However, there's a few other players I would have added to that list personally. Cucurella, because he's so integral to how we play. And Enzo Fernandez. He's the heart of that midfield that we are, planning for in the future. It's the Caicedo-Enzo sort of partnership, Palmer and Cucurella. I think they are the 4 players you go, right, under no circumstances do we sell those players, and everyone else does have a price. Now, this isn't... I say it's alarming. I mean it's alarming in terms of, like, they're just saying 2 players out of the whole squad, right? And I get it, because they are so much better than everyone else. However, they did mention, or Todd Boehly did speak about, they want stability, right? And they want to have Maresca for a long period of time and buy the right profiles and things like that, which is good news to hear, because you do need stability in a football club. And the last few years, all over the place. It's been a roller coaster for Chelsea fans, man. Our club has been an absolute shambles. There is no hiding away from that, right? But if you're talking about stability and long-term and projects, you can't then turn around and say, yeah, so 2 players we're definitely not going to sell, but everyone else has a price, so, cool, you want to come in for this money? Boff, off he goes. Because then you're constantly replacing players. I've mentioned this before with Todd Boehly and Clear Lake, and the way that they run the transfer markets and the windows is very much NFL draft. It's very much like every window, we're going to sell a load of players, buy a load of new ones. And that works in the short term, but not for the long term. Once you have a stable squad, you have to keep it and then build on it. And I feel like that's what we're going to do this summer, because I think our squad has stabilised with Enzo Maresca this season. I think it really has. We're not relying nowhere near as much on Cole Palmer this season. He's had his very good spells and had some very poor spells, and he's kind of averaged out. 15 goals, 8 assists in the Premier League is a very good season for a number 10, right? It just is. It's not Cole Palmer standards of last season, of course, but it's still a good season for a number 10 in the Premier League. Enzo Fernandez is playing the best football he has in a Chelsea shirt with 7 goals, 13 assists. So he's now contributing. Jackson had a good start to the season and sort of fizzled off. So yes, we need a new number 9. We know that. The left wingers have all contributed GA. Noni's had a very good season. I think it's 15 or 16 GA in all comps for him, or in the Premier League for him. One or the other. He's had a very good season. We are getting more people contributing to the goals and assists. Cucurella scored 8 or 9 goals from left back. It's absolutely wild. He's now contributing to the goals and assists. We're not relying on Palmer as much. We've conceded, I think we've got the 3rd best defence in the league this season. So we're not conceding nowhere near as many. The mistakes from Sanchez have seemed to have dried up. It was happening a lot in the first half of the season. Second half of the season, nowhere near as much. We are becoming a very stable side under Maresca. So I understand what they're saying in terms of they are untouchable with Caicedo and Palmer, and everyone else has the right price. Because if you speak to any other football club, every player has a price, right? We know that. But to basically say, like, everyone else is basically whatever, and Caicedo and Palmer are absolute no-goes, it's just quite alarming, because they then talk about stability. So if you want stability, you have to basically say there are core players we are not going to sell. For me, you have to add someone like Enzo Fernandez in there. You have to add in Cucurella, because they're so integral to how we play. But hey, that's just my opinion. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Do you feel like there's just Caicedo and Palmer that are untouchable, or do you feel there's other members of the squad that you would add to the untouchable list? Mohamed Ter Paris has reported that AS Monaco are looking to sign Chelsea goalkeeper Georgi Petrovic. This is going to happen a lot over the summer, in my opinion. I feel like we're going to see this more and more. Chelsea fans want Petrovic to come back and be Chelsea #1. He's had an incredible season at Strasbourg. The development has been through the charts. He's played so well. He's ranking very, very high with the top 5 leagues in terms of the goalkeeping position in so many key aspects and attributes, right? We want him as Chelsea #1. We do not want to be selling him. If we are going to sell him, it's going to disappoint so many Chelsea fans. But if that is the case, we have to go out and get a world-class goalkeeper for his replacement. There is no excuses, no exceptions. We're not having Sanchez as #1 next season. In my opinion, that's where we sit. You keep Petrovic, use him as Chelsea's #1. You let Jorgensen, Sanchez, Penders, whoever else, 400 other goalkeepers we've got on the books fight for #2 spot. Happy with that. That's fine. Petrovic had a fantastic season. He was great when Poch played him. He dropped Sanchez halfway through the season. And yes, we conceded like a record amount of goals. And he stopped a lot more goals. He gained us more points in that spell that he played for Chelsea as #1. Then he was loaned out because Maresca said he didn't suit his style of play. All right, fair enough. It is what it is. It's frustrating, whatever. New manager has a certain style of play that he wants to play. It is what it is. He goes on loan, absolutely smashes it for the season, wins Strasbourg Player of the Year. Like I said, development through the roof, all the rankings in the right areas. He's earned his place to come back and be Chelsea's #1. And I'm hoping that he comes back and Maresca goes, oh, you can play out from the back now. You're a lot better. Whatever it is he's kind of looking at, you're my #1 now. A lot more secure and safe, and can definitely lower the blood pressures of Chelsea fans when we're watching. But I feel like because of how much of a good season he's had at Strasbourg, there are going to be multiple clubs coming in for Petrovic to make an offer, and I'm just hoping that we say no and keep them unless we go out and buy someone world class. I'm happy with either. I want to keep Petrovic. He deserves to be Chelsea's #1 in my opinion. He just does. Right? Give him the chance. Let him fight for that position. Let him keep that position. Right? Let him showcase why he's better than Sanchez, Jorgensen, and everyone else. Right? He's earned that right. But if we do sell him, it's a very, very sad day, because I feel like he's going to go on to be an absolute world beater of a goalkeeper. But we then have to buy someone world class to compensate. They're your options, in my opinion. So I don't know how concrete the Monaco sort of rumours are, but I feel like there'll be a lot of clubs in mainland Europe, maybe even in the Premier League, they're going to be sniffing around Petrovic because he's had such a good season, and many clubs do need a solid goalkeeper. He would be a massive upgrade for a lot of clubs right now. So let me know your thoughts down below. Would you keep Petrovic as #1, or would you happily sell him if we replaced him with a world-class keeper? Moving on to the Enzo Fernandez report. So Gusta Mendes has reported that Enzo Fernandez is set to join Real Madrid, and the announcement is expected after the Club World Cup. Real Madrid have been sniffing around Enzo Fernandez for the last 3 seasons. This is nothing new. And at first I was like, oh my God, please don't sell Enzo. And there's a tiny bit of me that's kind of like, yeah, please don't sell Enzo, because he's having the best season he's had in a Chelsea shirt. He's one of my favourite players currently. I just like Enzo. I think he's a great player, great vice captain. Has the right leadership qualities. He's now showcasing it on the pitch of his abilities and what he can do. He's thriving under Maresca, scoring more goals, getting more assists. But this is nothing new. But what worries me is the amount of reports from multiple sources all saying similar things. So this is another report on Enzo Fernandez. This has all come out within the last 24 hours. Nizar Kansila has reported there is interest from Real Madrid in Enzo Fernandez, and sources say Chelsea would ask for more than the £107 million that they paid for him. And yes, I think that's fair. I think this is a deterrent for Real Madrid in terms of like, okay, you want to buy one of our key players, our core players that we're invested in for the future, then you're going to have to spend massive money. You're going to have to spend well over the 107 that we paid, 120 million, 130 million, whatever it is. You're going to have to pay that to pry him away to go play for Real Madrid. Now, look, I've said this with Dean Hulson. If Real Madrid come knocking, you have to be a certain caliber of player to happily turn them down. And the only person that I know that has actually turned them down with, like, convincingly, is Reece James. Reece James was like, nope, not interested, want to stay at Chelsea. When people were asking about the rumours, he was personally responding to people saying, like, Reece James to Real Madrid, who says no? And Reece James was like, me, I say no, not happening. He's the only player I know. There may be others, obviously, but that's the only one I remember in recent times that have actually gone, nah, I'm cool, I want to stay at Chelsea, I love this club. So it's going to be very hard to persuade any player to stay at Chelsea when Real Madrid come knocking. It's the biggest club in the world, right? And, you know, there's been reports that Real Madrid want to sign a Galactico midfielder. They want to spend massive, massive money. Now, I do look at their squad and I think, where does Enzo Fernandez fit in? They've just got rid of Ancelotti. They're going to play a different system. Obviously, the squad is aging. You've got people like Mudryk and Kroos, etc. They're on their way out. So you've got like Bellingham, you've got Valverde, you've got Vinicius. We don't know what's happening with Rodrygo. There's a load of talent in that midfield, and I don't really know how they would utilise Enzo Fernandez. You got Tchouaméni. You've got all sorts in there. Not to say I don't think he's good enough. I think he's definitely good enough to go play for Real Madrid. I am just a bit more like, okay, they're speaking a bit more in terms of numbers. Seems to get a bit more serious of like, okay, we want to buy a Galactico type money on a midfielder this summer. Chelsea really come out and said, all right, 107 million or higher. We'll think about it. And I'm like, last few years it's kind of been like, Enzo's going to Madrid. But there have been some more reports. BN Sports EN have reported that according to a journalist, Gustavo Mendes, Enzo Fernandez and Real Madrid have already reached a verbal agreement for him to join in the club next season. While nothing has been signed yet, reports suggest that the player and his partner are already house hunting in Madrid, on the advice of Atletico Madrid player Julian Alvarez, who recommended a home near his own. Real Madrid are not willing to match or exceed the 120 million euro fee. The player's desire to wear white could facilitate the deal. And this is what I'm saying. When you stack up these reports, you kind of get more of a clearer picture, and you can also read between the lines. Like I said, Madrid have been sniffing around Enzo Fernandez for the last 3 seasons. It seems like it's one of those deals that is on the cards at some point, right? They missed out on him when we signed him from, I think it was from Benfica. We paid silly money straight after the World Cup. We had the World Cup winners tax. We know that he's a world-class talent. He's now showing his abilities. He's grown and developed in the Chelsea shirt. This season's been amazing for him. Madrid have obviously been monitoring him. And now you have stuff like this. Again, I don't know if it's whispers that go through, like through the grapevine, things that change hands or whatever. I don't know if it's any of that or if there's any concrete foundations to it. Okay, but you're basically saying that Julian Alvarez has recommended, houses in Madrid that him and his partner are looking to buy. I mean, they're footballers, they're multi-millionaires. He could just be buying a house in Madrid because then it's easier for holidays or travel or see family. I don't know. It could be anything like that. Or there could be some concrete evidence to suggest that, all right, cool, I'll join Real Madrid, after the Club World Cup, blah, 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 and it all comes out and we're all kind of like, wow, okay, that came out of nowhere. So I don't know. Real Madrid have also stated in this that they're not willing to go over to the 121 million euro fee. Well, if that's the case, Chelsea are going to outprice them and Madrid aren't willing to pay the money. Enzo stays the Chelsea player. He's under a very long contract. He gets paid good money. He'll probably get a pay rise this year because of how well he's performed this season. We're going to be in some sort of European football. Obviously, we're praying for Champions League football. So I feel like he's going to stay. This type of thing where you see like Madrid want to spend big, but they're not willing to go over the fee that we're asking, that kind of puts me at ease a little bit that, Chelsea just doing this as a deterrent. But I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Do you feel that this is just waffle, or do you feel that there is some substance to this report? Fry Fernandez and Simpreza have reported that Chelsea are closely monitoring Rodrygo's situation at Madrid and are considering a bid to sign him. Talks have not yet begun, but they have already contacted the player's team in order to understand the possibility of a transfer. This is very, very exciting because I'm going to go down a bit of a rabbit hole in a second. But Chelsea being linked with Rodrygo is an unbelievable transfer. If we can make this happen, pay the money. This guy is an unbelievable footballer I think he scored like 50 goals and got like 15 to 20 assists, please fact check me, in the last 3 seasons at Madrid. Like, this guy's definitely got talent. He's unbelievable. He's not had the best of seasons this season, but he's still contributing and he's still got such a high ceiling. He's still young. And I think if you add him into that Chelsea attack next season, it's absolutely frightening. Rodrygo, Esteval, Palmer, a deadly striker, Enzo if he stays, Caicedo just behind. Like, mate, it's an absolutely frightening midfield and attack, right? Because the whole midfield and forwards thing. It would be unbelievable. So we're now hearing more and more that Rodrygo wants to leave Madrid. Chelsea are monitoring the situation. And again, like I said in previous videos, which you can go back and check, Chelsea have also come out and said that if the opportunity is right, they are willing to break the wage structure. They're willing to pay the money that it takes to secure a signature at the right opportunity. This, to me, starts to look like the right opportunity, but there has been some more reports. GoalBR have reported that Chelsea are considering making an offer to Real Madrid for Rodrygo this summer. Talks have started between Chelsea and Rodrygo's camp. So two very similar reports, different sources. Up to you whether you think they're reliable or not. Again, I put them together, I read between the lines, and you can kind of see, like, right, Chelsea are really thinking about this. Either we've started talking with their camp or we haven't. No one really knows other than the people involved. But Chelsea are really considering making a move for Rodrygo, and I would on 100% back this. We can only dream. Could you imagine we go and sign someone like Victor Osimhen or a Gyökeres and a Rodrygo? Oh my God, that transforms our team, and it makes us absolutely frightening next season. I'm getting gassed just thinking about it. This may never even happen, but I'm just super excited. Now, there is a world, there is an absolute world where if we are so adamant on Rodrygo and Madrid dig their heels in and say, nope, not unless you pay X amount, this wage, whatever, and we go, I don't know though, it's the right opportunity, but it's a bit too much for what we're willing to pay. There could be a world where it's a Rodrygo to Chelsea, Enzo Fernandez to Madrid swap deal. That is a potential. We could see that happen or start to materialise. There's already been a few murmurs of it. Well, Chelsea want Rodrygo, Madrid want Enzo. Could be a swap deal with money going either way, you know, whatever that may be. And the question is, would you take it? And I'm asking you to let me know in the comments. Would you take a swap deal? Would you swap Rodrygo for Enzo Fernandez? I personally wouldn't. I would like to sign Rodrygo and keep Enzo because that's greedy and that's what fans want. We want the best for our squad. The way I see it is Rodrygo wants to leave Madrid at the end of the season. Right? He wants to leave. He's made that very clear. You know, not that he said goodbyes, but you know, he's vented his frustrations. The reports come out saying he's not happy there. He can't break into the first team as often as he'd like to. He wants to contribute more and play more football. He wants to go at the end of the summer, like the end of this season, right? This summer. Enzo Fernandez seems pretty happy to me. He seems pretty happy to me. He's playing with conjunctivitis. Like, he's doing everything he can to make sure Chelsea can succeed and grow and develop. You know, you can see with his interviews the passion he has on the pitch, that he loves his club. You know, we've given him a platform. He wants to be with us when we build and go back to where we were. He wants to be part of that. So imagine adding Rodrygo because we pay the right money and paying the wages. Oh, it'd be unbelievable. But there is a world where we could say, do you know what? You can have Enzo Fernandez. We'll take Rodrygo. I find that a harder position to fill with the squad that we've got. Yes, we've got Esteval coming in. Obviously, you've got Palmer, and then you've got your wingers. We need that left wing sorted. He would fit perfectly into that left wing position. Put Rodrygo left wing. Cooking. Absolutely cooking. But then, I don't know. I feel like replacing Enzo Fernandez in our current team and the setup and the way it's working, I think that takes us a couple steps back where even though now we're starting to find our feet with the rhythm of Enzo, you know, driving into the box late, scoring more goals, getting more assists, taking the pressure off of Palmer. Now, you could say you could play Esteval and Palmer, but realistically, Enzo does a bit of the defensive work as well to allow him to push forward when we invert, right? And I can't see Palmer or Esteval playing in that deeper role to then go forward. For me, it just doesn't work at all. You know, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But there is a world, and there are murmurs and rumours that are floating around, of a potential swap deal between Fernandez and Rodrygo, Chelsea to Madrid, with or without cash. But I want to know, would you take that deal, or would you say, no thank you, we'll keep Enzo and we'll buy Rodrygo because he clearly doesn't want to be there? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And that's the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comments. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that. You're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail that appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.